Hello. Thank you for joining me on this video where we're going to be looking at Reiki and science, the scientific studies that have been done on Reiki. I think this is really fascinating, especially since I've been a Reiki master for over 26 years now, that we can see Reiki in science. So you're on my YouTube channel called Healing the Planet from Within, where I'm on a mission to teach 1 million people how to raise their energy vibration to improve our lives. And of course, with that comes mindset shifts, because we have these stubborn minds that often don't want to realize we can shift and change our own energetic vibration to heal our physical health, mental health, and emotional well-being. We're not really taught how to do this, or that it can even happen, that it is true. It can be effective energy healing. So it's important to do this mindset shift. And of course, looking at science really works. At the end of the YouTube channel, or the end of this video, you'll notice that I come across a journal article that does talk about biofield therapies in the context of that energy healing has occurred for thousands of years, but just recently come into science. So I think that's quite interesting. But biofield therapy, I discovered, is a term now used in science to describe energy healing. It's like this umbrella term where they've boxed all energy healing modalities in this, including Reiki, therapeutic touch, pranic healing, Qigong. They even put into this biofield therapy term. So it's a term used in science now. When you're doing your own research, I'm going to show you how to look up the journal articles yourself, the scientific research, and where to look and why you're looking in specific places as well, because there's a lot of scam or sham websites in the world talking about things, but we really want to draw upon knowledge from science, from the scientific journal articles. I'm going to show you where to find them. But on your search, you can use the term Reiki, but also the term biofield energy, because it will give you the results from energy healing specifically on scientific studies. I think it's really cool, right? My mind's going off to here now. So, okay, so some important things before we start looking at the journal articles. I want you to be aware when you're doing your own research that you're looking for credible sources and not some random news websites that waffles on about this. We can't believe a lot of things that are happening on the website right now, or social media, or even on the news, because we don't know the source and whether it's credible. So just use a bit of critical thinking, and this is what we're taught at university level. Like, I did my degree in counseling and psychology, graduate certificate in human resource management, graduate certificate in childhood and youth studies, and a master's of education. And while you're studying at university, they teach you how to see the research from a critical perspective. Critical thinking is what they call it. So I'm going to show you how to do that as well, so you know what you're looking for. Now, first of all, as I mentioned, you've got to find it from an original scientific journal article source. And I'm going to show you 3 platforms that you can look at where you can discern whether these are good studies or not. Second thing is the effectiveness of the study and the sample of the study, whether there were 10 participants or hundreds. And that usually has an indication about how effective the study was. If it's only done on one person compared to thousands, it would be different, right? The outcome is different. The other thing is, I noticed that a lot of the journal articles or the scientific studies I was looking at didn't mention the ability of Reiki practitioners, or how long they were trained, or whether they've been practicing for 20 years under a grand master, or whether they did a weekend online course. So I'm going to consider, from my perspective, that these studies have been done on Reiki practitioners doing the watered down version of Reiki. This is what I call the watered down version of Reiki, where someone has learned Reiki, but not actually fully aware of the energetic vibration within their own body and in the world around them, including in the environment they're in, in the level of thoughts or type of thoughts that they have in carrying their own emotions and their ability to raise their energy vibration to the higher source. If someone's just on a weekend course or an online course, they might just suddenly put their hands on and Reiki, the universal energy, will flow through, but they're not aware of the energy world around them. This I call the watered down version of Reiki. I've got a full video on this, but just briefly, think about it from this perspective. In Japan, energy healing or biofield therapies was very well known. And Mikao Usui sensei was a grand martial artist. He'd been studying in martial arts and Tendai Buddhism since he was a child, and the world of energy was very familiar to him. So he automatically had energy healing abilities. It comes naturally when you're in these practices of meditation and martial arts and Qigong. You're practicing and you're really dedicated. Energy healing comes naturally. But when he was doing energy healing on clients and people and his students, he noticed that they still would come back with the same issue, and it's because of their thoughts and emotional patterns that would recreate these issues, right? So then he decided to teach them how to do it themselves. From there, Dr. Hayashi was a medical doctor, and apparently, he was really focused on just healing the physical body, not the spiritual practices or the path to enlightenment that Reiki, the full practice of Reiki, gives. So it came to us in the world, in the Western world, and traveled around the world as this practice for healing the physical body. But it's so much more than that. So just to keep that in mind, we're going to look at the journal articles soon, because I'm going to do a screenshot as I'm looking at them with you, so you can see where I'm looking at them. And we're going to look at the journal articles, the scientific research done on Reiki. So have a notebook and pen handy, and maybe some chocolate. I don't know if it keeps your mind awake. Take notes. Take notes of the journal article, where it's found, where you can do your own research. I'm looking at research from that has been done on cancer patients, on older dwelling community adults. That was an interesting one. We've got fibromyalgia and whether Reiki is effective on fibromyalgia, whether it was effective on pain, anxiety, depression. There's a lot of different areas that we're looking at, and the type of people that they were doing it on, as well as the method they used to discern the results, and of course the results. Now, I have a tendency to go look at the results first, because that's how we're taught in university, to scan for the results and see if it's what we want. So in some cases, Reiki has been proved effective, and in some cases it didn't really reduce any pain or anxiety or something. So it's interesting to see where it's at. But one more benefit before we get rolling and looking at the journal articles is this video. Looking at the science in Reiki is really valuable for Reiki practitioners and Reiki masters, especially if you've got friends and family who are asking you, what is Reiki? You can say, well, I've been researching Reiki and science. Reiki has been done, researched in scientific studies, and these are the results. And then they'll have a better idea what Reiki is capable of, right? So any skeptics, you can talk to them about the Reiki and science, and I think that would boost your practice. But most of all, it'll also give you the confidence that, wow, okay, something is working. And I would highly recommend, if you're really dedicated to the practice of Reiki, to keep working with it and build your relationship with it. So, okay, thank you so much. And let's go have a look at the journal articles. Hello. Okay, I get a little bit excited when I'm looking at the research of Reiki in science, because we've got some evidence of the effectiveness of Reiki. But what's really interesting is that if you're a Reiki practitioner or a Reiki healer and you want to explain what Reiki is to your family, your friends, and they've never heard of this before, you can actually, after watching this video, writing down some notes and even doing some research for yourself, you can explain to them from a scientific perspective the effectiveness of Reiki. And I think that really gives power to your practice, but also for your own healing. Like, it's been proven in science how effective Reiki is and what it works on and what it doesn't work on. So let's have a look. I am looking at Google Scholar and the Center for Reiki Research. So these are two areas I recommend that you can go to do your own research. Google Scholar has a lot of journal articles and some random links. So just double check and make sure you're looking at the ones you feel are credible or have got enough information on the practice of Reiki before they do their study. Because some of these studies may be the watered down version of Reiki, which is really not what Mikao Usui Sensei taught or practiced, but it's still effective because we can see it in science. But there is a more advanced version of Reiki that I recommend you getting into if you want to learn how to raise your energy vibration and increase conscious awareness of your thoughts and emotions. It's a complete practice. But for now, let's just look at what science has to say about Reiki. Now, you can go to Google Scholar and yourself type in Reiki. You can type in Reiki pain or Reiki stress, and you got a list of information here of the science on Reiki. You can also go to the Center for Reiki Research. Look, I recommend you having a notebook and pen handy during this video so you can write down some of these things, and you know, it's at the top of your mind then. You know, you can do your own research or you can share with people what you know about Reiki on a completely different level that will help them understand. The research part here, I love this part, it's got summaries. Summaries are like the little bit at the end, the conclusion of the summaries about what's been found. And if that's interesting, then you can explore all the details of their methods and participants and what they use to prove it. I don't want to do that in this video. We're just going to look at briefly the conclusion of a few different studies. And of course, there's tons more out there, so feel free to do your own research. But I just wanted to inspire you and let you know that Reiki is in science, it's in research. Okay, so while I was researching Reiki in science, I did come across this new term. It's called biofield therapy. It's just encapsulated all the different types of energy healing that's out there. Reiki, Qigong, pranic healing. It's just a new term for this. It's working with our energies, basically. Anyone working with energies to do healing is now called biofield therapy. So if you're doing your own research, you can also use this term, biofield therapy, to look for the science that's been done on energy healing. This term comes in really handy. Okay, so let's have a look at this. Now, Reiki has been proven to reduce stress amongst community mental health clinicians. Now, they are at high risk for burnout. So how can Reiki help burnout? You write it down, burnout, and then let's see the evidence that they've got behind here. Burnout, of course, if you didn't know, it's emotional exhaustion, depersonalization, and reduced personal accomplishment. It's got a huge effect on your ability to be effective, especially as a mental health practitioner. And Reiki has been proven for reducing stress. It's been proven beneficial for reducing stress. And I'm sure if you've received Reiki yourself or you do Reiki in yourself, you know you relax instantly. And when you're relaxed, are you stressed? Absolutely not. So the purpose of this study is to determine if 30 minutes of healing touch could reduce burnout. Now there's the methods that I was talking about before, but we're just going for the results. Reiki was statistically significantly better than the sham Reiki. So they had two groups in this study. One was pretend Reiki, where people didn't know what they were doing, and the other one was Reiki, and they noticed a significant difference. So absolutely, Reiki does assist in reducing burnout and stress. Okay, so this one is looking at Reiki for pain, anxiety, and the quality of life. Now, keep in mind that this study is a small number, and in this. So it's not a large, like thousands and thousands of people being researched. But the purpose of this review is to highlight Reiki therapy, pain, anxiety, depression, quality of life, and patience, specifically in palliative care. That's interesting. So if you know of anyone in these kind of scenarios, you know, okay, there's been research on this, and you can notice that it's clearly identified. Oh, okay, here, wait a minute. Due to the small numbers, we were unable to clearly identify the benefits of Reiki therapy. So in this particular one, they could not prove the benefits of Reiki therapy. So we need to look at across the board everything. Don't write that one down. We know it's not quite there. This one, however, looks at factors in community dwelling older adults. And what we're saying here, depression scale, the research design, including experiment to examine changes in these measures. Okay, significant differences were observed between the experimental treatment groups on measures of pain, anxiety, and depression, but not in the heart rate and blood pressure. So it helped reduce pain, depression, and anxiety, but not on heart rate and blood pressure. So that's interesting. So pain, depression, and anxiety. This is quite a fascinating research, and I'd really like to keep this journal article link here, so maybe make note of it for yourself. Journals sfu.ca, effects of Reiki on pain and selected affective and personality variables of chronically ill patients. So this one here, they did a group of Reiki, so 10 sessions of Reiki. Another group did 10 sessions of progressive muscle relaxation, and then there was a control group and a placebo group. So there's 4 different groups in this study. One with false Reiki, one placebo, which had no effect whatsoever, or no Reiki, nothing. So what is proven here, I find this interesting. Reiki is an effective modality for reducing pain, depression, anxiety, which we saw in the other one. It's effective in enhancing desirable changes and personality and strengthening the faith in God. Reiki strengthens your faith in God. Gains made by Reiki persist over longer periods of time. So Reiki influences or benefits people over long term. Attunements, they seem to be an important part of Reiki training, and I think they draw upon that evidence because of the placebo group that didn't have any Reiki training. So the ones who were Reiki attuned made more of a difference. And chronically ill patients experiencing stress and pain were really receptive to Reiki, and I can get that. Reiki feels brilliant. Okay, so this is integrative Reiki for cancer patients, and their method for studying this was written responses to open-ended questions. So the participants were given questions about how they felt, and through this questioning process, they noticed a reduction in distress, anxiety, depression, and pain and fatigue. Reiki was beneficial in reducing all of those. So I think that's an interesting bit of research there. So they're suggesting more research is needed to evaluate and understand the impact that Reiki may have for patients, caregivers, and staff who have been affected by cancer. I agree. There should be more research for Reiki. And this is the effect of Reiki on work-related stress of a registered nurse. And they use the perceived stress scale tool, and they noticed that results indicated that practicing Reiki more often reduced perceived stress levels. So you feel like you're stressed, but you receive Reiki, and I know for myself, my anxiety, stress, anything goes down after doing Reiki on myself, and yeah. So this is Reiki for the treatment of fibromyalgia. I'm just going to go straight to the results here. This is interesting and really interesting to note. Reiki nor touch had any effect. Nothing. There was no beneficial. Neither Reiki nor touch can improve the symptoms of fibromyalgia. But it's interesting how they're doing the research, right? The effect of Reiki on blood hypertension. So there was definitely an increased conclusion. Reiki had a positive effect on reducing abnormal blood pressure, suggesting to be a complementary technique for the control of hypertension. So it's beneficial for hypertension, but not for fibromyalgia, according to those two anyways. Let's see what this one is. Oh boy, I can't remember. I quickly looked at them all. Let's see. Okay, so from the information currently available, Reiki is safe, gentle, complementary therapy that activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the one that helps to relax the body so the body can heal. So this is interesting, and I think this is a key bit of knowledge here, because stress, or when the sympathetic nervous system is making the whole body go stress, there's a lot of symptoms that can come up with your digestive system. Your immune system is out of whack, like nothing's really strong, right? And even your blood pressure, everything goes when your sympathetic nervous system, or chronic stress, long-term chronic stress, really can make us feel sick. But Reiki activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which relaxes our body. And I think for me, this is a key takeaway, because it can benefit, especially long-term. If you're doing Reiki on yourself every day, you'll notice a lot of different health benefits. I think this is really important. Now, this is really interesting if you read some of the journal articles. Reiki is one of the more popular complementary modalities used by Australians to manage their health conditions. We don't really know how many Australians use Reiki, but it has been used in some hospitals, cancer support centers, drug and alcohol rehabilitation centers, and palliative care. So yeah, quite interesting how it's being used in many places nowadays, I think. So not just in America, but also in Australia. So this is the autonomic nervous system. Again, we can see the nervous system is definitely is the Reiki. Well, the heart rate and diastolic blood pressure decrease significantly in the Reiki group compared to both the placebo and the control group. So it has some effect on the autonomic nervous system. So even your nervous system benefits from Reiki. Okay, and one more I've got here. Let's quickly look at this one. You can see there's a lot of research. Okay, I think this one's quite interesting because I went all the way down to the bottom. This is the biofield therapies. Biofield therapy is what I said before, is a term used for all energy healing practices, and I think I just wanted to point this out. It's becoming quite well known to even mention biofield therapies, energy healing, and even title it as biofield therapies. It says the practice of biofield therapies existed in Eastern and Western culture for thousands of years. But of course science hasn't existed for thousands of years, so we're just looking at it in science. It's interesting to see the recognition of biofield therapies or energy healing across the board. These healing practices sense and modulate subtle energies of the body. Been going on for a long period of time, and with a lot of different names, and some of them are not even named. It's just an energy healing practice. We're lucky to have received knowledge of this on our Western world right now, because at least we know that energy healing exists, and you can dive into it in a variety of different ways. So, okay, well, that kind of concludes the brief look on Reiki and science. I was excited to share it with you because a lot of people doubt Reiki or fear Reiki, thinking some sort of demon or devil practice, but it's just an energy healing modality now called it's in the biofield therapy categorization in science, and you can just have a look at it through Google Scholar and browse through everything that's there in relation to Reiki, how it reduces stress. You can see there's a lot of different evidence there. and just learn about, I mean, you can keep going for hours, so I didn't want to go through all of this. I think you can do it yourself. I think it's quite exciting that you can see everything there. And of course, going into this one, where we're looking for the Center for Reiki Research, there it goes, and looking at the Reiki research summary. So quite interesting. Hey, so I've been a Reiki master for over 25 years now, and I know the benefit from my personal self, from personal development, spiritual development, and overall feeling peace in mind, peace, contentment, satisfied in life when I'm actually working with Reiki on a regular basis. So anyways, that's a little bit from my video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please feel free to look at all my other videos. I'm going to encourage you to use my YouTube channel as your personal training program to improve your life, because I've got a lot of beneficial videos on there. So grab a notebook and a pen that you would use for my YouTube channel, Healing the Planet from Within, and you can consider it your personal training program for better living. So, all right, thanks for joining me on this video. I hope it gave you a lot of juicy, good knowledge, so you can now talk to your friends and family about Reiki from a scientific perspective. Okay, many blessings. It's really quite fascinating, isn't it? All the research that's been done on Reiki, and that's only like a drop in the ocean from what we can see. But however, this has empowered you to know that Reiki has definitely been researched in scientific studies and some of the results, but also how you can explain it to your friends and family who might be a bit skeptical about what Reiki is. And you can even use this term biofield therapy, or call yourself a biofield therapist now because you work in the realm of energy healing. So I think it's really fun. So thank you so much for watching the video. If you could please click over here and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'd really appreciate you coming on board this journey with me, because I'm on a mission to teach 1 million people how to raise their energy vibration. In fact, have a notepad and pen handy and binge watch my entire YouTube channel, because you'll learn different tools and techniques and practices to improve your life. So you can consider my YouTube channel, Healing the Planet from Within, your personal training program for better living. All right, have a good day. Enjoy.